Welcome to EMAN, Effectively Making a Noise. I'm Cheryl Secrest, your host, and today's story will be Samuel anoints David to be king. Samuel anoints David to be king, and it's coming from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. And we will have a bonus reading and it will come from one of our teenagers in the Teenage Devotional Bible. For some time, the prophet Samuel continued to suffer over King Saul because he had proved himself to be unworthy of ruling over God's chosen people. Perhaps Samuel took some of the blame for Saul's failure upon himself, for he had anointed Saul as Israel's first king. Then the word of the Lord came to Samuel, saying, "How long will you mourn for Saul, seeing that I have rejected him from reigning over Israel?" Samuel was comforted by hearing God speak to him again, for he knew that God would tell him what to do. God directed Samuel, saying, "Fill your horn with oil and go. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided for a king among his sons." At first Samuel was afraid to go, because he feared that Saul would hear of it and put him to death. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not be afraid. Take a heifer, a young cow that has not yet given birth to a calf, with you, and say, 'I have come to sacrifice to the Lord,' and call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. And you shall anoint me one of the sons of Jesse, whom I will name." So Samuel did what the Lord commanded and came to Bethlehem. The elders of the city came to meet Samuel with fear and trembling, because they feared they might have done something to displease the man of God. They asked Samuel, "Do you come in peace?" Samuel quieted their fears by replying, "I come in peace. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Now I want you to sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." So Samuel sanctified Jesse and 7 of his sons who were present, and called them to the feast. So Jesse and 7 of his sons came to the feast. Jesse had 8 sons, but the youngest of them was away keeping the sheep. As the 7 stalwart, which means strong and healthy sons of Jesse, stood before him, Samuel tried to pick out the one who should be anointed as Saul's successor. First, he looked up on the oldest son, Eliab, who was tall and strong and handsome. Samuel was impressed with Eliab's appearance and said to himself, "Surely the Lord's anointed is before him." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For the man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." Then Jesse called his second son, Abinadab, and had him pass before Samuel. And Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Then Jesse made his third son, Shammah, pass by. But Samuel's answer was the same: "The Lord has not chosen this one either." So Jesse had all 7 of his sons pass by in turn before Samuel. And Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen these." Then Samuel said to Jesse, "Are all of your sons here?" Jesse replied, "There still remains the youngest, but behold, he is out in the pasture fields keeping the sheep." Samuel then said to Jesse, "Send for him and have him brought to me, for we will not sit down to the feast until he comes." So Jesse sent for his youngest son and brought him in before the prophet Samuel. Now this shepherd boy had a ruddy, healthy complexion and an altogether pleasing appearance. Immediately the Lord said to Samuel, "Arise, anoint him, for this is he." Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed David in the midst of his brothers to be Israel's future king. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. After the feast was over, Samuel rose up and returned to Ramah. And that is the end of our story today. But we have a bonus to this story. And it comes from a teenager named Spencer, age 13. And it says, looks don't count. And this is in reference to the way that Samuel was looking on the outer appearance of the sons, trying to pick the most handsome, the most built, the most strongest. But the Lord looks on our heart. He does not look on our outer appearance. And it says, looks don't count. Read 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. A new kid came to our school last year, and he was a little on the heavy side. No one gave him a chance to show what kind of person he was. Instead, everyone judged him by his weight. Unfortunately, I did too. Later in the next year, many of us got to know him better, and he turned out to be really cool. I felt so guilty about the way we acted earlier, and I wish we hadn't judged him because of his appearance. I am sure everybody has treated someone unfairly at one time or another, and most of us can be kind of shallow and sometimes judge people by how they look. But God is never shallow. He cares about all of us, not because of what we look like, but because of who we are. And it says, try to remember a time when you judged someone unfairly because of the way they looked. How did you feel about it later? And we say, thank God for the unique ways He's made you. Thank Him for the ways He's made other people too. And that is the end of our story today. We hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more of the Bible story reading. Peace.